Alright, welcome back to Adobe Photoshop CC. In the last tutorial we explored the power of the magic wand tool, and in the last tutorial we had this situation, a scenario here where I clicked in the background and then hold shift key to add my selection, and it looks pretty close, but as you can see we have an issue here where there's little bits of hair here to be selected. And in this tutorial, we're going to actually resolve this area. So again, we're going to check it out here. By the way, this photo here comes from pexels.com. The other photos I had taken myself from last tutorial, but if you go to pexels.com, great source for free and open source photos you can actually use for not only educational purposes, but also for commercial purposes, which is pretty crazy. But all educators should take advantage of this. But you can see here as I click on a photo, it says here free for personal and commercial use. So I just click on the free download button and it will pretty much expand the image here. And then you just right click, save image as, and save it to your wherever you want. So pretty cool. Anyways, let's go back to Photoshop here and let's figure out how to get these little areas here. So we could go select similar after you select the background, and we would get definitely those little hair spots. But if I hit the Q key or click on the little camera icon here, which does the same thing, you'll notice a lot of the skin tone has been selected because the luminosity, the luminance levels are very similar to the background here. So one obvious solution would be to paint out the area, and to be honest, it's not that difficult of a painting job, so I'll probably utilize that. But another option would be to duplicate this layer and basically just refine the top part and not have to deal with the rest. So I may choose to do that, but let's see here. Let's go ahead and actually do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and right click, duplicate layer, click OK, and I'm going to double click on this layer to unlock it, click OK. And so on this layer that is selected, the top layer here, you can see here the hair. Now it's not perfect. I will admit that there are little bits here that we could definitely refine even better. And that we'll explore another tool later on that allows us to do that, which is the refine mask tools. But let's go ahead and click on the square circle. And if you do that, remember that will do the opposite. So if I turn off this, you'll see that the face has basically gotten away in the body, which is not what we want. So I'm going to hit Command Z or Control Z on a PC to undo. And I'm going to hold Alt or Option and click on the mask. Again, the other way to do it is to select Inverse and then just simply click on it. But I'm going to hold the Alt or Option, click on it, and we get this result. So the hair looks great, but again, we have an issue with the head here, right? So what do? Well, we could combine these two images. So if we select this layer, what we can do is select the parts that are working. And we can do that using the Quick Selection tool. So the Quick Selection tool works with edge detection, and if I click in here and drag, it works pretty well with selecting the image here up to a point. So the hair is going to definitely be an issue, as you can see there. So I'm going to undo that last action. With this tool, what's great to work with is by clicking a little bit at a time, and it's hidden with the same tool with the magic wand tool. And you can adjust the size of the brush, by the way, using the bracket keys. Typically, if you have it this big or big like this and try and select, it doesn't work very well. It works well when you make it smaller and when you're zoomed in. So if I click and drag a little bit in here, I can get pretty good results. Now, again, that last click selected the hair, including these open bits here, which I don't want. So I'm going to again hit Control Z or Command Z on the Mac. Now, I don't know if any of the other parts I need to adjust. I may have to add the ear here. I think some parts of that were not selected in the mask. So I'll actually switch to the lasso tool here. And anytime you switch with these selection tools, all you got to do is hold the Shift key, and you basically can add the selection. So I'm going to just draw a selection area around here and make sure the ear is selected, maybe a little bit more of the head, just to make this a little bit easier instead of having to paint out the area. I mean, that looks pretty good in terms of the selection area. I think that covers it pretty much. So on this layer, if I click on the layer mask, what will happen is, as you can see, the two images are together now, and the little bits of hair work well together. So if I turn off this layer, you'll see that is what's going on in that layer. And if I turn off this layer, you can see what this layer is basically masking off. So this top layer, again, has issues with, the face here, the ear. I could have painted that whole out. I could have painted out the arm. But with the quick selection tool, it just made it a little bit faster just by duplicating the layer and coming up with this idea here. Now you can always test your image, see how it works by adding a new layer. I just click on the new layer tab next to the trash can there. And I'm going to use the paint bucket. It has a hotkey of G. If you have the gradient tool on top, you can just mouse down, hold the mouse on the tool, go down to paint bucket, pick whatever color you want. I'm going to click in the color picker here and choose something that would be the opposite of this color, maybe green, complement to the red there, and click in the background. As I zoom in, you can see there's definitely the hair is pretty good. There is a little bit of issue there, but overall this looks pretty good. It looks like there's a little bit of the necklace here that's an issue. So this might be an issue where this image is a little better, but it's not. So I'd still have to do a little bit of refining with that. But overall, everything else looks pretty good. So let's zoom in on this a little bit here. And I could choose either layer, basically. And what I would do is hit B for brush and be in the mask. Very important to be in the mask. 100% opacity, normal. And then hit the D key for the default black and white. And then hit the X key to reverse, so you get white as your foreground color. And basically, as I paint with white, I would bring back those, this little bit of the outfit here. It looks like along here. And if you take it too far, if you go out into here, again, you can hit the X key and sort of remove it. Okay, I'm not going to spend the entire time fixing this, but basically that's how you would go about it. So let's zoom out and see how it looks there. It looks pretty good overall. Again, in the future tutorial, check out the tutorials on how to use the refine mask tool. Basically, double click on the mask, and you can come in here and click on the select a mask to adjust that. We might as well just try it. Click in here and see how it looks. What you can do is check this little box, Smart Radius. That's the one to try out, and then increase the radius a little bit. Typically, what that'll do is it usually gets a little bit more of the hair refinement and make it a little bit better. Let's try on black or on white. Oh, you know what? I just realized I have the wrong layer selected, so I'm going to cancel out. I forgot. The hair mask is this one, so double click on this one, click on selected mask. That's why it wasn't working properly. And in here, you can turn on the smart radius and adjust the radius here. And notice that as I increase that amount, you get a little bit more fuzzy, qualities of the hair sort of coming through. If I really ramp this up, you're going to get more of it sort of coming through. Again, it's sort of preferential sort of taste. You can adjust that. And then if you come down here, the shift edge is the one that you can really kind of play around with and see how much more of that hair you can bring out. You can adjust it however much you want. I mean, that seems to be pretty good. I definitely get a little more strands of the hair coming through. So let's go ahead and click OK and see how that looks. And yeah, it looks a little bit better. It looks like we got a little more of that hair to shine through. So you can try that out. But basically, by combining, duplicating the layer and playing around with Magic Wand along with the quick selection, we can ultimately get a really good selection. And quite often that's what you need to isolate the figure and bring it out of its original state. Which again, if I hold Alt or Option, or actually Shift click on one of these masks, you can see the original here, and then the combination of the two together. So until next time, happy exploring Photoshop, CC. Until next time, cheers.